Hey, can you hear me all right? Maybe. All right, give me like 2 more minutes. Um, I'll be right there. Talk amongst yourselves or something. I don't know. I gotta take care of important business. Business. All right, cool. So the plan is we're gonna work on this cart. Forgive me if this is a little weird. This is basically my first stream here, and I don't know. Till I get the hang of what the fuck I'm doing, I'm just gonna structure it like one of my videos. I'll try and keep an eye on chat, but you know how it is. So I have this very excellent, nice, minty copy of Pokemon Gold here, and unfortunately it isn't working. I already know exactly what the problem is, but I'm still going to walk through some troubleshooting steps so that I can, I don't know, try and help out if you guys are trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with your carts or something. So that's not yellow, this is yellow. Anyway, so when we pop it in the Game Boy, we just get this, we don't get a Nintendo logo here. So how the Game Boy carts work is on the ROM chip itself in the game is a copy of this Nintendo logo. The Game Boy is going to read the ROM chip, look for that Nintendo logo, and then display it up here and check it against an internal copy stored in the Game Boy itself. If those don't match, then it just hangs up on the start on this screen here and you won't get anywhere. And this is what it's reading from the cart, which is why it's not working. And yes, normally the first step is to clean the pins. I like to start by just checking it in another Game Boy entirely. So wow, I just tried to flick that on and this is not that Game Boy. Anyway, so we're getting the exact same thing on this Game Boy as well. I like to narrow down my issues. If we're getting the exact same thing on both Game Boys, chances are pretty good that it's not an issue with the Game Boy. So the next step, since we know it's not an issue with the Game Boy, is to go in here and clean the pins. A cotton swab or Q-tip or cotton bud or whatever the hell, those are usually perfect for going in there and getting the pins. You can even use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on these to help out. Another helpful option, if you're using isopropyl alcohol though, be careful not to get it on the label. It can mess up the label if you're not careful. And it will mess up this label, especially because there's just paper showing on this one. But obviously I'm not too concerned on this cart. So I have already tried cleaning it. It still doesn't work. I'm going to take it apart and see what's going on. And as soon as you see this motherboard, you'll know exactly why it's not working. So I'm sure that's perfectly normal. I don't see any issues with that. Throwing shit everywhere. Battery doesn't... Oh yeah, so the battery is just for the real-time clock and to hold a save. Without the battery, the cart will still work perfectly fine. But, yeah, so it's obviously seen better days. Now, there are several different ways we can go about fixing this. I'm going to go ahead and get my soldering iron warmed up. I'm rambling about this. We can just go through with a multimeter testing continuity on stuff that I know there should be continuity on. You know, voltage rail should be connected to this pin, and it is, so on and so forth. Ground rail. There should be ground. I forget which one it is. Is it this one? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we could see stuff in there. We can go about that with every single pin, make sure everything's connected up and happy. And when we find stuff that isn't connected, we can solder some bodge wires and connect it up. But there is an easier way, as long as you're not afraid of using a little bit of hot air. So my buddy HDR, who may or may not be in chat, he wasn't responding to my DMs earlier, so probably not. He went through and reverse engineered these circuit boards and actually made replacement circuit boards that you can just use. You swap out all the components over to that, and once you got it reassembled, should work perfectly fine. But in this case, because I've made so many flash carts with this, not with this, but with similar games, like these things here, because I've made so many of these things, I actually have this exact model PCB left over from other games. So what we can do is we could just pop one of these apart and look at this. DMG KGDU 01, DMG KGDU 01. Those are the exact same model PCB. I could just swap over the necessary parts and then that should be good. What I will need to swap over is this ROM chip on the right here, this MBC chip right here, and then the power management chip. I'm going to try and reuse the existing crystal and all the other supporting... I desoldered all the other supporting components. Okay, I guess I'll swap those over too. But I'm 90% sure the issue is with the PCB in this particular case, just because I could see all the nasty corrosion on it. So I think that's what we're going to go with. I have several donor carts that I can use. This is actually the one that I had intended on using, but I decided against this because on one of the pins here there is a little bit of a blemish and it could cause issues. It probably won't, but I have a PCB in better shape, so I'm going to use that. And it's basically the same thing with all of these. This one's missing the crystal, and I don't want to go digging through my parts to find one. And this one is just all scratched to shit, so we don't want to do that either. I don't want to make it USB rechargeable. I've done that before. The battery lasts like a month. Worst case scenario, I do have another game that is perfectly intact that we can use as a full donor if I need it, but I think this will be fine. Alright, and then there's just another one because I have too many of these darn things. Okay, so to start, I know for a fact this battery is bad, but we're going to remove it anyway because I'm going to be using hot air to desolder a lot of these things, and these batteries explode if you try and use hot air on them. Ask me how I know. Actually, don't. Don't ask me how I know. That's not going to happen. You can probably guess. So I'm trying to think how I want to do it. I think I'm going to start with this one and just hot air this chip off and get the rest of this stuff prepared so that when I hit this one with hot air, I can just swap the components over one by one. Yeah, I think that should work. My only concern is this chip right here, the mask ROM chip. Some of these pins look like they've seen better days. Hopefully they'll still take solder, but I don't know. I suppose another step I could use in troubleshooting this is to just retouch up these pins that look like they're pretty nasty. And quite frankly, that might be enough to fix it. But with this sort of corrosion, I know I'm going to run into trouble in the future, so I'm just going to try and take care of that now. Okay. Yes, the legs do look quite eroded, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm going to touch up these solder joints with some fresh solder, some fresh solder. Beautiful. Beauty! Alright, good enough. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use my hot air station for this. How do I feel about solder paste for stuff like this? That would probably be ideal for this, but this is what I have. So this is what I'm using. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to use my hot air station for this. I don't think my camera picks this up, but just in case it does, and just in case you're sensitive to this sort of thing, when it's on, it does cause my lights to flicker quite fast. So, you know, if you're sensitive to that, just heads up. If not, well, carry on. I'm not your supervisor. All right. We're going to use some flux. This is also not the ideal flux for this, but it's what I have, so it's what I'm using. And yes, I will clean this stuff up, just I'm not going to take a 20-minute intermission in the middle of the stream to do it. And I am 90% sure the RAM on these two games is the same. If one of them was a larger capacity, I'd want to swap this chip over too, but I'm fairly confident they're the same thing, so I'm not going to do that. If someone could do me a solid and double check that for me, I'd be super grateful. This is the game. It's called Trade Card Hero or Card Hero something, I don't know. But if you look up this code, DMG-AAH-HHJ, that'll confirm it. But 90% sure they're the same. We'll worry about that later. Let me bump the heat up a little. And probably want some tweezers. I can't find my ceramic tip ones, so screw it. We'll do it this way. This thing does not heat up very quick. There we go, that should be good enough. Fuck if I know where the ceramic tweezers are. Oops. I should also get like a PCB vise or something to hold this shit in place. I mean, this wonderful PCB. Jeez, this thing keeps moving. I think I also need more heat. Yeah, screw it. Let's get more heat. Let's crank it all the way up. What could possibly go wrong? Oh my god. That's what happens when you do stuff live. Okay. Set that over here. Forgot to put flux on that. Sure, it'll be fine. Someone just popped. Hope that was just flux boiling or something. Yeah, I think that's it. At least everything I'm going to do with hot air. And yes, this is a silicone mat, because I know I would ruin this surface without it. It seems to insulate pretty well. One problem is it kind of bubbles up when you get only part of it hot. How expensive is my hot air station? It was like $50 on Amazon. I can't say I recommend it, but it works. And you know what? We might be good to go as is. There's a bridge there that I need to fix, but the rest of these joints look pretty well soldered up. I do still need to transfer over all these little capacitors and shit though. But that's easy enough. I can even zoom in. What kind of magical shit is that? Those are terrible solder joints, by the way. I am going to go back and touch those up. Especially that one. Totally fucked that up. Oh, forgot one. It does not matter the polarity on these. Yeah, we'll just go with it. Just gonna get everything transferred over first, and then I'll worry about making it pretty later. I think that's it. There's that one down there, but I don't need to transfer that over. Cool. Yeah, that's why I hate using this flux. Oh dear, I soldered it to my solder. No? Maybe? Okay, guess it's not going to focus. I like this knife tip because if you need to, there's that fine point on it, you can really get in there. But for other stuff like soldering chips on, it's got this big wide surface area. I'm just using the flux that the board is already covered with to get these in place. Usually the surface tension of the solder on the pads will just pull these into place, and I don't have to worry about it sticking to the iron, but like I said, of course, because I'm doing it live, that's not how it's working. Oh, gotta fix this one. Oh, it's upside down. We can fix that. My tweezers are all sticky and covered in flux. Everything's sticky at this point. I hate it. Okay. Alright, there we go. Cool. Hang on, let me just scroll through chat real quick. So yeah, someone brings up a good point that I probably should have mentioned. I didn't because it wasn't an issue with this cart in particular, but these are really thin PCBs. I believe the spec is 0.08 millimeters. And unfortunately that was kind of a budding technology at the time when Nintendo was making these things, back in, I don't know, 1989. I know this particular board was made closer to 1999, but same difference there. When you insert these things into a Game Boy, the board does flex a little bit, like I said, because it's so thin. And unfortunately, just after a few years of doing that, sometimes it causes the chips to flex as well, and you get some solder joints that break on the connections there. And unfortunately, it's ridiculously hard to physically inspect that. But a common solution to that problem, is to just go through and solder on all the connection. Oh, before I clean this, that's fine. I'm just cleaning the cart edge here. But yeah, a common solution is to just go ahead and solder on all of the pins. There's a really good video that I usually link whenever someone asks me about it, from YouTuber. I believe he goes by bob.exe or something. I don't know. I'll have to double check that. But I will link it in the description after the stream, or I'll link it in the chat, or someone, I don't know. Maybe some kind soul can link it. It's the same one that I linked in the wiki for troubleshooting. And no, this is not all the cleanup I'm going to do. I'm just cleaning it enough to test it without getting my Game Boy all gooey. So that's clearly a bad thing. That is not how I envisioned this going. Let's try another Game Boy. Oop. I got a green light, but nothing else. Okay, so there's probably a really nasty short, like perhaps that short on the mask ROM that I forgot to clear. That one right there. Oh, but those pins look like they're disconnected. I don't know, maybe it's affecting something regardless, so. Where's my flex? And all these joints look pretty good, but I'm going to touch them up anyway. Just in case they're not connected as well as I think they are. Why do you want to know so bad what my favorite Pokemon is? There's a decent chance that even if I did everything right, this thing still won't work anyway. Because unfortunately, that's just how things go sometimes. Better. I'm thinking it's just not making good contact. And the reason I'm using this case is because the back of this thing is covered in flux. And I don't want to have to clean the gold case. Still nothing. Okay. There is a huge scratch across the pads, but it doesn't look... that's interesting. Scratch looks like just a surface scratch. It could also just literally need to be cleaned up. Like, I've seen flux do some weird shit, man. The solder joints on that C6 capacitor looks terrible. I don't think that would cause my issue, though. Damn it. I swear this never usually happens to me. Good enough. I never actually touched up the joints on this thing. I doubt it would cause my issue. Blow on it. Man, don't even get me started on that. If you need to blow on your cart to get it to work, you have other issues. Like, I don't know, the fact that it needs to actually be cleaned. Blowing on it is just going to cause corrosion and water damage over time. That's what's nice about the knife tip. Oh man, I accidentally got a little bit of solder on that square. Not a huge deal, but... The fact that it's doing... Yeah. Now it's stuck. There it goes. The fact that it's doing something different every single time tells me that the pins might just be dirty. Also, a problem I didn't even think would happen is I was just using parts that were literally thrown in a bin. I don't know if there's other issues here. The donor board I'm using could have been bad. Probably isn't, but could have been. Is this thing cracked? Oh, I don't have a microfiber cloth handy. BRB. The wonderful part of streams. I can't just pause it like I normally do. I mean, I suppose I could just pause it. There we go. Now that's nice and shiny. Hey, that was it. So yeah, of course there's no save. There's no battery in it. So before we continue with testing, 2 birds, 1 stone. And pop in a new battery. Normally, I like to use the, I believe they're Panasonic, but don't quote me on that. The tabbed batteries from DigiKey. They are much better than these AliExpress specials, but guess what I have on hand? Alright, so the bottom of this battery is labeled positive, which means this tab on the bottom is the positive tab. The PCB is labeled positive and negative, so we want to connect the positive tab to the positive side, otherwise it's not going to work. I'm going to half-ass the soldering because I'm going to undo this when I clean up the rest of the flux, because there is a lot of flux under the battery, but just for testing. Need tape. Fuck off. If you tape batteries, you're you deserve to be made fun of, I think. Alright. So let's try it out. Let's try it out, shall we? It is currently not the middle of the evening somehow, or the middle of the morning. No wonder it's so dark. fingers are all sticky. I got flexy fingers. If you install the battery the wrong way, it will not mess up the game, but it won't work. At least it shouldn't mess up the game. Not saying it won't, but it definitely shouldn't. Alright. It's looking beautiful. Looking way better than this board. I'm glad I tore it off too, because if you look under this ROM chip, you can see all these disgusting vias. I mean, I could have seen that from the other side anyway, but a lot of them are not good. Hey, look at that! It has my save, it has the time, and the time advanced, because I set it to 750. Now it is 751. So, I think that's it, man. I think we're done. So, the next and final step is going to be to remove this battery once again. And clean up all this flux. So my usual method for cleaning flux, and I apologize for everyone who wants to see it, but it's just not going to happen because I'm basically out of isopropyl alcohol. But I take an old toothbrush, one of these bad boys, just saturate it with isopropyl, and then go nuts. I suppose I can get started. Why not? Alright, I can't do that under the camera. There's not enough vertical height. Oh, maybe I do have enough. Let me just do this. That was too easy. Oh, come on. It's only easy because I make it look easy. If that didn't work, I was going to take my other game, this one, the one that's actually still working, and use that one as a donor. And just keep going. And if that didn't work, I was going to have to stop and crack open another beer. But if that didn't work, I was going to have to start going through with a multimeter. Jesus Christ, Hazy. And one by one, check all the connections. Alright, so at this point, I'm literally just spreading the flux around because I don't have enough isopropyl. Please tell me the soft bristles toothbrush kind. It's an Oral-B, but it genuinely doesn't matter. You can use literally anything. Whatever you want. I mean, toothbrushes are like, what, $2? Unless you get one of them fancy kinds, which PCB does not need an electric toothbrush. Doesn't that just smear it around? Well, yeah, that's the problem I'm having because I don't have enough isopropyl alcohol. If you use enough isopropyl alcohol, it'll dissolve it, and then when I'm done, I will rinse it off in isopropyl alcohol, but there is not enough to do that for sure. I had more than I thought I did, so I can at least do this step. And unfortunately, this is going to do fuck all for all the flux stuck under the chips. But housemate's toothbrush. You do you, alright? Look at that. You can't even tell it's not mint aside from all the crooked capacitors. Or OEM, rather. And we're just going to wipe it up with this microfiber cloth. This is just some cheap garbage I got on AliExpress years ago. Nothing special. These things are terrible for actually cleaning. Fucking mint, eh? Yeah. I'd say so. This is my substitution for rinsing in isopropyl alcohol because I just genuinely don't have enough for it. I do have a whole nother bottle, but with how hard the stuff has been to find, I'm going to save it for other things. And normally that would be it, and I'd love to show you how not sticky it is, but my fingers are still very sticky, because I haven't washed that yet. I still got to clean up my desk too. Oh, I forgot to clean that. Yeah, let's use the Fluxy toothbrush. Something that usually helps for this stuff, especially because it's on the inside and we don't really care about scratching it up too much, is if you have like a little O-ring pick, you can use that, or tweezers, I guess, to just scrape that stuff off. If you're real sensitive about scratching it, you can use a whatever the hell these things are called, plastic spudger. The reason we want to clean up the corrosion in here is because it can still cause issues, especially because the corrosion is only on parts of the shell that are contacting the board. I suppose I can turn my hot air off. Gotta put the battery back in still, so leave this hot iron on. But that paste flux I whipped out earlier, that is so much better flux than this no clean stuff. It's just, you have to actually clean up that flux, and it's very, very sticky. And you definitely shouldn't get it on your bare hands. I should be wearing gloves. It's obviously too late to fix that. I'm not having any luck getting the rest of this stuff out. So I think I'm just going to not worry about it for the time being. But I might actually try a little bit of the fuck? Oh, I dropped my candier. Might try a little bit of distilled white vinegar and a cotton swab. Finish cleaning that up. We can do better than that. The center of the Jesus thing. Come on, give me a pretty joint. That's better. It ain't perfect, but something good enough for the girls I go out with. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Usually the best way to clean this shit is just hot water and soap and toothbrush. And by this shit, I mean the plastic shell. But this is good enough. Yes, I know I'm putting the screw in, but I am genuinely going to take this apart after the stream again. Try cleaning that up a little bit more. I just want to see... Oh! I was going to check and see if my save is still there. I forgot I just pulled the fucking battery out and put it back in. Let's test it one more time, make sure everything's still working. It is... Date. It's 03. Actually, it's 8:04 now. One of the reasons I like the SP so much for actually playing games, I can play one-handed. And I'm doing that right now because my left hand is, or my right hand, I swear I know my left from my right. Still covered in flux. Saving, don't turn off the power. Cool. So that's that. I think we're good to go. I'm just going to boot it up again in a few minutes, check that it both retained my save and the time. But yeah, that went a little bit smoother than I had anticipated. And I blocked out an hour for this, and we're just about there. Alex, you're 100% right. I should be using this. There's no battery in it, though. That's entirely too high effort. Oh my god, there is a battery in it. There's just no backlight. I fucked it up when I pulled the screen out for something. And I haven't fixed it yet. yeah, I guess next time I do a stream I can work on fixing this game, because this has the exact same issue. But I think I know what the issue with this one already is. This one obviously isn't corrosion. You might be looking at the staining on this board and going, ew, dude, you got to clean up your flux. And, well, I did clean up the flux. I just ruined the finish on this board because this white solder mask is not, it does not take the heat very well. But anyway, it did work at some point. It will probably still work if I unplug it and plug it back in enough. Yeah, there it goes. But I can't reflash the thing. I don't know, it won't let me reflash it. I was obviously able to flash it the one time, but it's not working, and I don't know why. And this is on an old version of Crystal Clear, so I'm not having very much fun with that. But yeah, we'll save that for the next video. I've got some new PCBs to check out too. So let's check this thing out. Double check that it's still working. Not that I expected it to stop working, but, you know. Continue, 806. We're good. So there we go. I've got a little bit more cleanup to do on the card itself. I want to go over it one more time with some isopropyl alcohol, and then I want to actually clean up the rest of the corrosion on the shell, but I'm going to do that later. I've got to go take care of some business, and I still have to clean up this mess because I'm basically working on this part of my desk with this all covered in flux. But otherwise, we're good to go. I think I'm done here. Did y'all have any... Is there anything y'all wanted to talk about before I end the stream? We can't talk about business. I gotta... You know what? Actually, we can talk about business, but I need to go excuse myself for about 2 minutes. Sorry, but when you're a few beers deep, it's bound to happen. Yeah, videotapes. Let's go with that. My hands aren't sticky anymore. I washed my hands. So anyway, did you guys have any questions? I mean, I don't know. I think I tried keeping up with the stream, or with the chat, as much as I could, but I'm sure I missed something. Got anything? There is a little bit of a delay between, what beer am I drinking? Nothing right now. No, I was drinking Guinness, though. I'm totally going to cut this part of the stream from the VOD, too, so if you're not here, you're missing out. cat's sleeping. I don't want to bother him. He's all curled up. Besides, to show my cat, I would have to show an uncomfortable amount of my apartment, and it's entirely too messy for that. Do I keep all the chips or straight chuck them out? I don't know what to do with them, but I do keep them. I have a collection of them. And I just found another collection. SRAM chips. There's one more ROM chip. Two more ROM chips. Indeed. Save the SRAM chips in the baggie though. Actually, I should probably desolder that. And I can save the chip and just throw out the board because I'm never going to use this board. Yeah, it's my snack tray. Fix something else now. I don't have anything else that I can fix that I feel like fixing right now. I mean, there's obviously stuff I can fix. Like that board I just showed off. I just really don't want to spend another hour and a half doing that right now. After this, I'm gonna go play some Halo. And if I spend an hour and a half fixing that other board, I'm gonna have less time for Halo. Oh shit, I've had that overlay on this whole time. Whoops. Oh, Hazi, you missed it. That's because Mr. V walked me through enabling the sound suppression. My AC's on right now, too. You can't even hear it. That's great. Technology, man. Oh, hey, HDR. There you are. I was talking about you earlier. Only good things, I promise. Oh, God. There's a lot of flux on that. Alright, so straight up, if you want a hot air story, or a hot air story, a hot air station, you have to ask yourself two questions, alright? How much are you going to use it? And are you comfortable with buying multiple hot air stations? If you're just going to use it, every once in a while, just, once a month, once every 2 months, something like that, then just fucking buy the cheapest thing you can find. It literally does not matter. And just unplug the Jesus thing when you're not using it. If you want, the best of the best because you're going to be using it every day, I'm sure Louis Rossmann or what's his face has a much better recommendation because they actually use the things. Voltaire. Does Voltaire use hot air? I don't think he does. Never mind. I know Louis Rossmann does. I have this cheap generic, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's Noevsbig. But the actual hot air handle thing is the same one that almost all of the cheap stations use. But get one with tips. I think that's an important factor. If you just use that stock, the stock nozzle, it'll work, but it's not going to work as well as it would with a tip. I mean, yeah, he's going to point you to his store, but in his defense, on his store, he has a really nice hot air station that I was looking at, and honestly would have bought if it was in stock like 3 months ago. I forget what the name is, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the only hot air station he has now. HDR, I didn't use your PCB. I used one of the dozens of OEM PCBs that I had left over from all the flash carts I've been making for no good reason. Do I do live stuff often? This is literally the first time I'm doing a live video. You're not missing out, my friend. And despite doing it live, it's literally shorter than most of my other videos anyway, so somehow I got that going for me. Yeah, no, that's it, HDR. I have tons of these things. I have no idea what to do with them. I'm probably going to end up making some of Alex's CPLD boards, make my own custom version of that, because otherwise I've got these wonderful nice cases that I'm not doing anything with. What Game Boy do I use as a daily driver? One of these two, depending on what I'm doing. I like the Micro. It is my favorite. Well, thank you. I take care of my stuff. I like the Micro. I have put a lot of work into this thing. It works fantastic, but the only thing it doesn't do is play Game Boy Color and Game Boy games. So when that's not happening, I resort to this thing, and this is still pretty cool. I have entirely too many mods, excuse me, but you know, there's always room for more. If I had to pick a stock Game Boy, one Game Boy as my favorite model, stock, no mods, it would be an AGS 001. But if I can mod it, then I'm gonna go nuts and do shit like this. But yeah, so that's a tough question to answer because I genuinely use two different Game Boys depending on what I'm playing. Oh, there is another thing I meant to do. I think I'll just do this as a regular video though. I have some Easy Flash Omegas for troubleshooting and an Easy Flash Junior that I need to troubleshoot, but I think I'll do that as a regular video, not a stream. That way I can do it at some weird time when I actually have free time. That's not the middle of the night. Oh, you don't even know, man. Custom SP lipos? Soon. Check that out. I can't share more details yet. Or maybe I can, I don't know. I didn't actually ask. But I assume they don't want me to share more details until they're ready to unveil it. You know what? I was actually looking for that PCB HDR. I have no idea what I did with it. It's somewhere. I'll probably find it as soon as I close the stream. Unless it's right here. Nope. My opinion on boxy pixel aluminum shells. Hang on. I got something for that. You tell me if I like them or not. No, I'll elaborate. So the Game Boy Color shells, I think they're really nice. They feel really good. They're super heavy, but you should have known that going in. This is one of the original batch that he actually put a Nintendo logo on. He doesn't do that anymore, and I'm sure the newer batches are even better. Actually, what the fuck? I have one right here. I have one of the newer batches that's been sitting on my desk and my cat has been sneezing on. And that's also really nice. I like that he put the markings on it for power, for volume. There's actually an indicator light. One of my issues with it, though, is there's no more IR window. I think he's resolved that in newer batches, but in the original batch, there was an IR window. On the batch when I bought this, there was no IR window. I don't know why he changes that shit, but... Or, actually, I do know why he changes it, because that's one less operation that has to be done when machining, which makes the shells cheaper, and since basically no one uses the IR window, or actually the IR functionality, then no one cares. Okay, so yeah, the newer ones do have the window. That's good. This one doesn't. This is a Revision D faceplate. It doesn't have it. But since we're talking about Boxy Pixel, I can't not talk about some of them buttons here. These aren't Boxy Pixel. These are these fabulous new buttons from this vendor Retro CNC. You can get them on retrogamerepairshop.com / well, I don't know if there's a slash, but there's a Retro CNC section on the side. No, I'm kidding. Shilling aside, I'm genuinely not being paid. I really like these, and they're made by someone super cool, and they feel really nice, and I love them. And I think the dude deserves the business because these are fantastic buttons. But, and chill. It's my genuine opinion on those. I don't know. This Retro CNC guy, as far as I know, he's like some farmer in the middle of Kansas, so some fucking nerd, I don't know. No, I'm kidding. He's pretty cool, though. Oh, there's that Easy Flash that I forgot about. It just boots that same thing that I was just troubleshooting. Troubleshooting an Easy Flash with this issue is not at all the same as troubleshooting a regular cart. I have absolutely no idea what to do with this, and I was just going to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, but that's for another video. Those green anodized Boxy Pixel shells are actually pretty good looking. Wanted to grab one myself, but I don't really... Oh! I got distracted. You guys let me go on a tangent. I like the Game Boy Color shells. I do not like the Game Boy Advance shells. I don't like how they feel. A lot of people like the Game Boy Advance because of the ergonomics and how they feel in the hand. The Game Boy Advance that Boxy Pixel makes is a completely different shape on the back, and it is just not comfortable in the hands whatsoever. I'm sure some people have no problems with it, and if you're anything like me, you're probably not going to play the damn thing anyway, and you're just going to pop it on a shelf, and in that case, it's fine. Doesn't really matter how it feels in the hand. But when I'm making a Game Boy, I like to be able to actually play the thing. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that Junior. I'm concerned that it was a failed firmware update or something. And if that's the case, I have no clue how to fix it. I know there's JTAG ports on it. Maybe it can be reprogrammed that way, but I've never messed around with JTAG. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, the Game Boy Color version, very comfortable in the hand. The Game Boy Advance version, not so much. Alright, anyway guys, I think I'm getting to the point where I want to stop this stream. I've already finished what I set out to do like 20 minutes ago, and at this point I'm just shooting the shit. So I guess I'll catch y'all next time. I am planning on doing more streams. I don't know what the schedule is going to be like on that. I'm probably only going to do them on weekends. Probably late afternoon West Coast time. But yeah, I don't know. If I do end up doing streams though, they are going to replace my regular videos, because I usually end up uploading what, like 10 videos a month, something like that. So it would end up being around 9 videos a month and a stream, or 8 videos a month and 2 streams or something. I don't know. Quite frankly, I didn't expect to get this far with YouTube. I thought I'd run out of stuff to do like a year ago. And I've still got this whole list of stuff that I've been putting off. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I wasn't watching the whole time. I think, actually, I can see it right here. We peaked at 55 viewers concurrently, and I expected to get like 5 or 6. So I think it's super cool that at least 55 of you wanted to watch me dick around with Game Boy stuff. And then however the hell many views this is going to get later, because it's going to be a VOD, I don't know. But anyway, if y'all have any other ideas for streams or what... Oh, you know, fuck, one more thing. I do this in my videos too. And one more thing, and one more thing. Let me just finish this up, and then one more thing. Fuck, I am doing at least one more stream. I have at least 2 more streams. I have a box of Game Boys that need some fixing, and I figure I might as well do that on stream too. And then I have another box of Game Boys on the way that needs some fixing, and I'll do that on stream too. But beyond that, I only have those 3 streams planned: this cart and then the 2 boxes of Game Boys. I don't know, this is weird because it's different from a video, where with a video I know what I want to say, I say it, and then I'm done. I just hit stop. But here in a stream, I say what I want to say, someone says something in a comment, and I feel like I should address it. But and with the delay, there's, I don't know, like a 5-10 second delay or something like that from between when I say something, my camera picks it up, sends it to OBS, OBS sends it to YouTube, and then YouTube sends it to you, and conversely back to me. Between that delay, you know, I'll have a whole nother thought. And I can't just stop myself without expressing my thoughts. Anyway, I think I am actually finally done at this point. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Do this again sometime, yeah? Yeah, it'll be good. And yeah, thanks for bearing with me while I figure out the stream stuff. Any more micro mods planned? No, I don't really have any more planned at this moment. I might swap out the overclock mod at some point, but that's not really going to be a new mod. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If someone were to make some buttons for it, I'd totally install those. I think my cat's about to cough something up, so I should probably go. Oh no, he's fine. Just kidding. Sorry if that was gross. Hey, the Funk. Thanks for being a cool viewer. I already uploaded the video on the micro battery, didn't I? I genuinely can't remember. I know I made the video. I don't remember if I actually uploaded it. Pretty sure I did. I suppose I will revisit that at some point when I find a better manufacturer for the batteries. How did I get into Game Boy modding? Dude, I just like tinkering with shit. And there was a Game Boy, so I started tinkering with that. I can't leave well enough alone. I take apart literally everything I own. I think I had my new laptop for 2 days before I had the bottom panel popped off. Yeah, I don't know what the battery life long term is going to be on those micro batteries, but I do know that it's going to be better than the OEM batteries because the OEM batteries are like 15 years old at this point, and the batteries that I just replaced them with are brand new. So hopefully they last another 15 years or so. Probably not, but whatever we get is still better than some of the OEM batteries. A lot of the OEM batteries are already dead. I don't know what kind of percentages there are, but of the 4 micros I had, one of the batteries was totally dead. The other is like half capacity, and the other 2 are still perfectly fine. So given that failure rate and sample size, I can assume that most of the batteries are still perfectly fine. Is there a good way to remove solder from the gold connectors on a cart? Sleep tight, my friend. There is not. Once you get solder on the gold plating on a PCB, it is there for life. You can try literally scraping it off. I really don't recommend it. I think, once it's there, just leave it because there's no real good way to fix it. But if you're devoted, you could try scraping it off. And by scrape, I mean with an abrasive, like sand it off. Yep. No, your stream's not frozen. I'm literally reclined in my chair with my head leaned towards the phone. Hi, Hazy. Yeah, you can get a new PCB made. That's what I was going to show off because HDR had actually sent me one of his prototypes, and I was going to fix the donor that I used for this with that board instead of using this gross board, but I couldn't find those boards, and I didn't have an MBC3 chip to use with it anyway, so. You would buy a shirt with what saying? I missed that. I don't know. It doesn't matter too much. I'm not selling shirts. I'm not selling anything. Oh, just one more thing. Here's how you know the stream isn't frozen. Oh, that's not even in frame. Oh, yeah, it was. In fact, it was better over there. A Game Boy Color PCB. It would absolutely be possible. Osh Park would be way too expensive for something that size. Hazy, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just having fun. The biggest difficulty in actually replicating the PCB, though, is going to be actually doing the ECAD work and designing it. Once you get the physical PCB designed, you have to order it, and then you have to transfer over all 150, 200 some odd parts. And then you have to troubleshoot it in case you fucked something up with the design. Long story short, yes, it is 100% possible, but it is not something that I want to do. There is someone who made a DMG PCB, and I actually had a few of those made up. I was gonna do a video on that, but I don't feel like it. To be frank, if I get a PCB, oh, that's not it. Oh, I thought I had them handy. What's that? There it is. If I get a DMG that is totally fucked up and corroded and water damaged, I could totally transfer over all the components to this thing. And this would work. This should be a 1-to-1 replica of an OEM DMG PCB, except that I swapped out the Nintendo logo because I didn't want Nintendo to be butthurt with me. Oh, that went right in the flux, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like a lot of components until you're doing it one by one. There are, I think, 70 components on this board or something like that. And honestly, the big stuff is super easy, but once you get into all the little capacitors and resistors, it's just such a pain in the butt. I didn't even make this PCB, I just edited it. It was an Eagle file that I found somewhere online. I converted it to KiCad, spent a few hours fixing all the labels, and then just had it made. Someone else did all the ECAD work on that, so if Nintendo has a problem with it, they should go after them and not me. The funny plan for... Yeah, that was the plan, man. I was actually going to go and make some After Dark boards for the front half PCB, but then all these IPS mods came out with their own front boards, and I decided, fuck it, let's use that instead. And then I decided, fuck it, let's just not do it at all, because that sounds easier. The only DMG that I have that I would feel comfortable scrapping the PCB for, because there's issues with it, is a, whatchamacallit. I don't want to say New Edge, because that's a Mustang thing. It's one of the Play It Loud versions, and those ones, if you're not aware, those use blob top chips instead of actual discrete chips, so I can't actually desolder that board. Not easily anyway. So, that's off the table. Alright, that's all the time I actually do have blocked out for this, and at this point I got stuff I need to do. Got a DMG with a destroyed power switch. Any idea where I could source a new one? No, but I'll look into it. I've been looking into power switches for every other model. I might as well look at the DMG too. I'll let you know. I'll try and let you know. I'll probably forget. Alright. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for chilling with me. Hey, you too. You have yourself a great night.